failed. That day they told me I'd be erased. I looked at Willow one last time and said, "You can still change your mind. This is your last chance." She didn't flinch. Just threw a cold look at the 10 young models I had called over, maybe. Out of spite, maybe desperation. A few days later, she came looking for me in a panic. She'd seen something online, rumors that I'd coughed up blood. But by then, it was already too late. I was finished. I had spent 7 years chasing Willow. No. She was marrying Makoto, the man who'd just come back to the country. Her eyes were ice as she handed me a check for 100 million. As agreed, she said, "This is your payment for pretending to be my boyfriend." I looked at the check, silent. The words echoed in my mind. Mission failed. Erased in 10 days. I didn't know what to say. 100 million. Was that the price of 7 years of love? Couldn't I at least enjoy some of it before I disappeared? I picked up the check, bitterly amused. Is there any way out of this? I asked myself. But I already knew the answer. Willow probably thought I was still clinging to her. She gave a tight-lipped smile. That's more than enough. Please don't bother me or Makoto again. Fine. I stood up and gripped the check. 7 years of being the perfect man, loving, kind, always there. And now, just 10 days left. They could vanish in the blink of an eye. I looked at my phone, scrolling through contacts. Willow looked like she wanted to say something. George, actually, But I was already calling David. Hey, you nearby? I need 10 models, all right? Now 10. Are you nuts? Your health, just send them. Pay them whatever. I've shared my location. They've got 10 minutes. Willow, we broke up. Hurry. 9.5 minutes later, Willow stood frozen, her face twisted in something between anger and confusion. What were you trying to say? I asked. Her face flushed. You're just trying to provoke me, aren't you? I smiled casual. Why would I want to provoke you, Miss Liu? I've kept quiet all these years. Can't I enjoy myself a little now? Don't worry. Won't get in your way again. She was speechless. Finally, she muttered under her breath, You'd better remember that. I nodded, just as 10 women stepped out of a luxury car, smiling shyly. Hello, brother, they said. I felt lightheaded. The attention was dizzying. I turned to leave with them, but just before stepping out, I glanced back. Willow's face was tense. You can still change your mind, I said quietly. This is really your last chance. She stared, caught between emotion and pride. I don't need to, she said. Just be careful. With habits like yours, even 100 million won't last a month. Don't come crying later. Don't worry, I said. I always keep my word. A month. I only had 10 days. I turned away, but there was a strange tightness in my chest. Was it my body giving out? One of the girls reached for my hand. For years, Willow and I had never even touched anyone else. But this time, I held her hand. Another girl offered hers. I took it too. 1, 2. I could feel Willow watching from behind me. Let's go, I said. First stop, the bank. After transferring the money, I treated everyone to a feast. At the best restaurant in City A, we booked out the entire place. I ordered all my favorite dishes. After that, we explored the city places I had always wanted to go, but never could. That night we partied, danced, drank, laughed. Under neon lights, I thought I saw her again, Willow's cold face in the crowd. But it was just a paparazzo. Excuse me, are you Mr. George? He asked. Don't you care if Miss Willow is heartbroken by what you're doing? Heartbroken. I raised an eyebrow. Right. Are you drinking to forget her? Is this your way of coping? I laughed. Forget her? No. I'm finally living the life I wanted. Those last few years, they were suffocating. Honestly, if you hadn't mentioned her, I probably wouldn't have remembered her at all. The truth is, I was never truly close to her. I was just a stand-in, a convenient placeholder, when her family didn't accept the man she actually loved. Sure, she cried when I left. Sure, she helped me behind the scenes. But she never gave me her heart. There's another life waiting for me, another path to walk. Willow, she was just a stop along the way. I waved at the girls, annoyed. Let's go. Then I turned to the paparazzi swarming nearby. Take your pictures, write whatever you want, just stop bothering me. We left for the hotel. At the front desk, they asked, how many rooms? Just one, I said. The presidential suite. The next morning, I woke up nauseous. My head was spinning. I stumbled into the bathroom and vomited violently. Blood followed. Thick, dark, and endless. Panic hit me like a freight train. The pain was unbearable, twisting deep inside me. I dropped to the floor. I already knew what it was. Stomach cancer. I'd seen the diagnosis weeks ago, but I didn't care back then. I even told Willow once. Her only response? A smirk and cold words. Someone like you would get sick. You're better off dead. Her words rang in my ears as the pain overtook me. Can I go early? I whispered to no one. It hurts too much. No answer. Remembered. Something I'd kept hidden, a strange red fruit, said to numb pain, but at a cost. I'd saved it, earned it through too much suffering. I didn't hesitate anymore. I used it, it melted on my tongue. Sweet at first, then ... relief. The pain faded, but I knew the truth, it was only masking the agony. The bleeding, the breakdown, it would all continue. Just wouldn't feel it. Fine, that was enough for now. The girls woke up, helped me get dressed, and we headed down to the lobby, and there she was, Willow. With Makoto, Mr. George? Would you like to extend your stay? The front desk asked loudly. Of course, I replied, handing over my card without even glancing at her. But I could feel her staring, burning holes into me. I didn't turn. Around, I didn't need to. We passed by them like strangers. The day was full. I took the girls sightseeing, shopping, dining. I did everything I'd never let myself enjoy before. The media went crazy. George and the 10 beauties, real life Bond, living his best life. Most of the comments were cruel. I didn't care. My time was running out. Just to be safe, I hired bodyguards. I didn't want any interruptions. Every hour mattered now. Every laugh, every bite, every song, we soaked it all in. At night, we danced, drank, partied. No regrets, but one night, just as we were heading into a bar, Makoto showed up. Got something to say? I asked flatly. Can we talk? He said. Say it here. I'm busy. He hesitated, then said, You're still mad I took your girl, huh? You should move on. It was fate. Wandering around making her uncomfortable. I looked at him for a moment, then laughed. A bitter, hollow laugh. You really think this is about her? You think I'm heartbroken? He didn't reply. You think this is revenge? I shook my head. You don't know what revenge even is. Thought back to another man in another time. Paralyzed. Betrayed. That was real pain. Then I looked at Makoto again. His face. It looked too much like mine. 7 years ago, Willow only chose me because I looked like him, like you. Even when she whispered sweet words in my ear, she'd sometimes call me your name by mistake. She never loved me, and now she was marrying you. Tomorrow, I saw their wedding billboard again. 2 hands locked together, perfect smiles. It was the 9th day. My chest ached. Not from heartbreak, but from something deeper. But the fruit muted even that. Photographers followed us. Makoto just stared. Getting married tomorrow? I said with a soft smile. Congratulations. He opened his mouth to speak, but I cut him off. Really, congrats? Then I turned and walked away with the girls. But the mood was gone. Makoto's words had ruined it. I sighed. Maybe if I drank more, I could forget. At least pretend to be happy. I raised a glass, forced a smile at the girls giggling around me. The table was full of bright, colorful cocktails. Let's make a depth charge, I said, pointing. They laughed and mixed drinks excitedly. I picked up a light purple one and chugged it down. Look at me. Impressive, right? They clapped and cheered. I reached for another glass, but just as I tilted it back, I tasted metal, sharp and cold. I doubled over, vomiting blood onto the table. Brother, are you okay? One of the girls gasped. That's blood. I waved her off, coughing. It's nothing, just ... Just being awesome. Tried to lift the glass again, but I didn't even make it halfway before another wave of blood burst from my mouth, splattering the drink, turning it red. It kept coming, pouring out of me. The girls panicked, screaming. Paparazzi cameras flashed. Staff rushed over. I checked my phone. Midnight, the 10th day, just as expected. Headlines exploded. George vomits blood at bar, Playboy's health crisis in public later. That night, I paid the bill, gathered the girls, and left. The crowd outside had grown, suffocating. Thankfully, the bodyguards cleared a path. Some still tried to follow. They didn't know who I used to be. I'd been a racer in another life. I knew how to lose a tail. Eventually, I drove off alone far outside the city, to the still empty wilderness. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Notifications were blowing up. George's personality change. George vomits blood at Willow's wedding. Coincidence or not? Willow and Makoto's grand ceremony goes viral. Calls, texts, and hate flooded in. George, you're pathetic. How dare you ruin their big day? Why don't you just die already? They were meant to be together. You were just a stand-in. Accept it. I stared at the screen. I told myself this world wasn't real, just another passing phase. But no matter how I rationalized it, those words still hurt. My phone rang. David was calling. Georgiou, I sent the girls home. I cut in calmly. Their payment's been transferred to your company, as agreed. Please confirm. Are you seriously talking about payments right now? David snapped. What the hell's going on? You said those girls were supposed to help you move on from Willow? What happened? I looked up at the sky. The stars were quiet still. I didn't plan this, I said. I didn't know I'd start coughing blood. There was silence on the other end. Then he said quietly, it looked real. You're not saying? He replied. I'm dying. You're serious? He said, voice rising. You have money. Get help. Where are you? I'll come to you. I don't want treatment. Then I hung up. David kept calling. I let it ring. Then I muted everything. I lit a cigarette and stared at the horizon. It was peaceful. Moonlight spilled over the landscape like water. A small bird sat in the tree nearby, a white little fluff with a long tail. Without thinking, I took a picture. Old habits. My first instinct was to send it to Willow. She loved birds like that. She used to smile so brightly whenever I shared them with her. I opened our chat and there it was, a message already waiting from her. George, you're pathetic. Vomiting blood just to ruin my wedding? You're disgusting. My chest tightened. Even with the car window open, I couldn't breathe. Forget it. I didn't send the photo. I'd forgotten we weren't we anymore. I hadn't changed. Was on me. Instead, I posted the photo publicly, captioned, a nimble little snowball. It went viral instantly. Ruining a wedding with a bird photo? Willow, just die already, George. Can't wait to see your grave next year. I regretted posting it. It was too late. David's messages filled the comment section. George, pick up please. Me or I'm leaking the recording. Then a new notification came in. Willow liked your post. Seconds later, she commented, I've always planned to marry Makoto. I was never yours. If you truly loved me, you would have let go. A good ex should act like he's dead. I froze. Bitter anger burned through me. My hands trembled as I scrolled. Through my phone, I deleted everything, her name, her number, every chat. The hate online kept pouring in, but I didn't read anymore. Why did it still hurt? Wasn't I supposed to be numb? I clenched my jaw. Damn it, this isn't fair. Pain. That was the deal. But the ache in my chest wasn't physical. It was worse. I shut my eyes. Her message echoed again. A good ex should act like he's dead. I felt rage crawling up my spine. If I weren't so weak, I'd show them what real revenge looks like. But what's the point? How long will this feeling last? I whispered into the silence. 6 to 7 hours, I imagined. Then it'll fade. Just hold on because of her, I said out loud, laughing bitterly. Every extra minute is torture. I'm done. I opened the glove compartment and pulled out a knife. No hesitation. One clean motion. Outside, the skies opened. Out. Rain pounded against the windshield. I leaned back in the seat, my strength draining fast, Blood poured out, soaking into my clothes, the leather seats. The floor. My phone slipped from my hand. It vibrated violently. David leaks George's recording. George diagnosed with stomach cancer, medical records. Confirmed. George refuses. Treatment. The screen flickered. Willow's name lit up. Again and again. She kept calling, but I was already gone. The George they knew in this world had died. Eventually, messages came through. George, what are you doing? We agreed to stay out of each other's lives. Up. I'm actually mad this time. That recording. It's fake, right? Where are you? The news spread like wildfire. George's final moments, bar footage, blood, laughter, and a toast Makoto and Willow's wedding in chaos clips. Of me smiling at Makoto, groom, congratulations, sincerely. Rain kept falling. I floated above the city in my mind, as if watching from far away. I wasn't sure what I was waiting for. Then tires screeched in the distance. A car door slammed. Willow. She ran toward my parked car, rage in her eyes. George! I swear, if you're pulling something, AG... She stopped. A scream rang out behind her. Is that blood? My God, there's so much. We followed his post. It led us here. That's his car, right? Willow stared down. The rain was mixing with the thick trail of blood spreading out from the driver's door, flowed onto the grass, staining everything. She froze, then took a step forward. Blood squelched under her feet. She stared at the door, silent, unmoving. Reporters rushed forward. One of them gritted his teeth and yanked the car door open. He screamed, stumbling backward. The inside was soaked in blood. It was a miscotic, unforgettable. Even though I couldn't feel the pain when I did it, I still wanted the impact to matter. Blood had spilled outside the car, onto the ground, mixing with the rain. Oh my God, someone call the police. Panic rippled through the crowd. Willow stood frozen in the storm, unmoving. Her eyes were red and wide, staring at my lifeless body inside the car. Her hair and dress were drenched. A camera flash snapped her back to reality. Get away. Bitch! Screamed, shoving people back. Don't touch him. Leave him alone. She pushed through the reporters and shielded me with her body, her face wild with panic. People exchanged looks and backed off slightly. She dropped to her knees beside me. George. She grabbed my shoulders and shook me. Up, please. She pulled me into her arms. Her once perfect wedding dress was now soaked in a mix of rain, blood, and tears. Her cries echoed through the hills. I watched it all from above like I was floating, watching my own ending play out. 7 years. 7 years of chasing her, of being ignored, rejected, pushed aside, and now, here she was, breaking down, crying, like her heart was splitting in two. Funny how life works. The rain poured harder. Then, David arrived with the police right behind him. The moment he saw me, he stopped in his tracks. No. Then he ran, pushing Willow out of the way. David, and I went way back. I had no real family here. It was just him and me. We fought through everything together, helped each other build something from nothing. That's why when I told him I was done, he didn't ask questions. Just tried to help in the way he knew how. But now he was furious. He turned on Willow. You're the bride, right? He snapped. Why aren't you getting married? What are you even doing here? His voice dripped with contempt. Didn't you tell him he was disgusting? That he made you sick? That he was better off dead? He stepped closer. Well, what? Changed. You're mine now? Too late? You're pathetic? David pointed a trembling finger at her. If George hadn't met you, do you think he'd be lying here like this? You wanted him gone? Congratulations. Every year on your wedding anniversary, remember you got your wish. To candle for him. Willow tried to respond, but the words caught in her throat. David turned away, furious, and spoke to the officers instead. The police ignored the argument. They moved toward my body silently. There wasn't much mystery. I was a public figure. Everyone knew the car was mine, and just in case, I'd installed a 24/7 dual dash cam, side and out. The footage was reviewed. A few short investigations later, they ruled out foul play. Still, one of the investigators muttered under their breath. He was brutal with himself. Not even a second of hesitation. Hearing that, I almost laughed. Of course I didn't hesitate. Couldn't feel anything. I had numbed everything with alcohol and something stronger. Now, as just a soul watching from above, it all felt so distant, unbothered. But David's eyes were red. His voice cracked as he looked at Willow and muttered. He told me he didn't want to live anymore. He clenched his fists and stared at the blood pooled under the car. With this much blood, he must have been in so much pain. I wanted to say, bro, you're overthinking it. I just left early. Don't feel bad. But he couldn't hear me, so I just sighed. What was the point? The officers wrapped up quickly. They asked both David and Willow to cooperate with the formalities. Since there was no crime to investigate, it went smoothly. Willow stayed quiet, her head hung low. I couldn't see her face, but her fists were clenched so tightly, her nails dug into her palms. Once outside the station, reporters pounced. Miss Liu, do you have any comment on George's death? Will your wedding with Makoto still? Happened today. His medical records were leaked. Do you think that played a role in his death? The questions came hard and fast. Cameras flashing, microphones in her face. She didn't answer. She looked cornered, surrounded, trapped. Then she turned to David. Can I take him? She asked quietly. David laughed bitterly. You're not his wife. Why should I give him to you? You told him to leave, he said through clenched teeth, and now he has. He's gone for good. Should be happy, he added coldly. Isn't this what you wanted? He took a breath, wiped his eyes, and walked away, leaving Willow alone in the sea of reporters. I watched him go. My chest felt heavy even now. The rain had stopped. The crowd kept growing. The internet had already caught fire. Turns out. Some reporters had been live streaming when they found my body. Even though they shut the streams down quickly, too many people had already seen. The moment that car door opened, when all that blood poured out, Tit was everywhere. George is dead. Was trending in real time. Everyone knew now. I had died. It was real, and it had happened on Willow's wedding day. Reliable sources confirmed it was suicide, and that the situation was heartbreaking. George's medical records had already been leaked. Experts said he could have survived. With treatment. He might have lived longer, maybe even recovered. Money was never the issue. He'd reportedly received $1 billion breakup fee after his split with Willow, but in a phone call with David shortly before his death, one thing was clear: George simply didn't want to live anymore. In his will, he left everything too. David, the internet exploded with opinions. News outlets, social media, everyone was talking. Interviews with the 10 girls who had spent time with George went viral. George wasn't how people saw him, one said. He had a pure heart. Nothing ever happened between us, another added. We stayed at the same hotel, but it was a massive suite. Don't get the wrong idea. From where I was watching it all, I wanted to yell, "Shut up. Now." It sounds like I couldn't do anything because I was sick. Yes, I was sick. You hear me? Not useless sick. Can you use your brains for once? Luce's eyes were full of tears as she said. It was obvious he planned everything. The day. He invited us all. That was the day he broke up with Willow. He didn't say it, but we could all feel it. He was hoping Miss Liu would stop him. Laura nodded in agreement. When we left that day, he said it was Willow's last chance. I was speechless watching all this unfold. You're right. But maybe next time, stop guessing and start acting. Ever think that maybe I actually meant it when I said it was her last chance? Then Laura continued. When George got drunk that night, he called out Miss Liu's name in his sleep. He really did love her. Everyone knew it. She was the one who left him. But he never blamed her. He took it all on himself. None of us knew he was sick, another girl said softly. He was always keeping busy, drinking, laughing, smiling. He thought he was just trying to move on. But now, it's clear he was just hurting, hiding it from everyone. I couldn't even respond anymore. Sure, I called Willow's name in my sleep, but it wasn't sweet or longing. I was cursing her out in full volume. Honestly, I was glad. I was dead now. If not, I might have died all over again from sheer social embarrassment. It was ironic. When I was alive, everyone blamed me for the breakup. They called me clingy, pathetic, a disgrace. They said I ruined her wedding out of spite. But now that I was gone, suddenly I was a martyr. Suddenly people loved me. Fans were editing emotional montages, dramatic videos full of sad music, soft transitions, and heart-wrenching quotes like, "He loved her more than life itself." The man who smiled through the pain. Now the same people who cursed me were mourning me. What a joke. I sat in the passenger seat of Willow's car, invisible to her. Watching her face, she looked hollow, exhausted. Just earlier, her assistant Lisa had pulled her away from the crowd. Now they were driving around the city in circles. Lisa looked back at her. "Miss Lou, where should we go?" "Everywhere's packed. The whole city's watching." There was a pause. Then she brought up the name we all knew was lingering in the air. "And about Makoto?" She trailed off. She didn't finish. The car kept driving, once, twice, 3 times around the city. Then Willow finally said, "Stop the car." The driver pulled over immediately. "Get out." She ordered Lisa, and the driver looked at each other, then silently stepped out. Willow climbed into the driver's seat. "Miss Lou?" Lisa rushed over, alarmed. "What are you doing?" "He's canceled," she muttered flatly before driving off. I stayed in the car, riding along beside her, just a ghost now, watching her face in the flickering city lights. She looked so tired, so lost. She drove all the way to my old house, she remembered. The code. July 23rd, her birthday. The house hadn't been touched in days. Dust covered the shelves. Stillness hung in the air. She stepped inside, turned on the lights, and stared at the photo of us on the wall. "George." Her voice was soft, hollow, echoing. "George," she called again. Like I might appear out of nowhere, smile, and say, "Gotcha." Just kidding. But nothing happened. Just silence. She moved through the house, opening drawers, yanking cabinets, throwing things around, desperately searching. I didn't know what she was looking for.
Hey.
Maybe something I left behind. Maybe a piece of me eventually. She found it. My medical report, it was in the nightstand, folded neatly. She opened it slowly, her hands trembling. This can't be real," she whispered. "George, you were lying to me, right?" She flipped through every page until her eyes landed on the diagnosis. Stomach cancer. Mid-stage. Urgent hospitalization. Recommended. A single tear fell and landed on the date printed at the top. She just stood there, staring at it, and the house was silent again. That was the day she came to see me. Her hands trembled as she looked at my medical report. Then suddenly, she tore it to pieces. Shreds of paper floated through the air like confetti at a funeral. Like tearing it apart could undo everything. Like destroying the proof might make the truth go away. She stormed through the house like a woman lost angry, broken, furious at herself, at me, at the world. She moved like she was looking for something she couldn't find, something that might fix all of it. But nothing could. Then she found a bottle in my fridge, one of the good ones I'd been saving. She opened it and started drinking. Straight from the bottle, her phone buzzed. She wiped her mouth and looked. A message from Lisa. "Miss Lou, I got the dashcam footage." "From the police?" "I sent it to your email. Please check it." A second later, another notification came in an email. She opened it, clicked the video. It played the last few moments of my life. Every second, every word. Lisa had even added a note. "Mr. George took a picture of the bird. He probably wanted to send it to you, but after he saw your message, he posted it instead. Later, he got another message from you. That's when he lost control. That's when he picked up the knife." Willow sat there, frozen, watching. Then, out of nowhere, she laughed, but her tears started falling just as fast. "George, was this your revenge?" she whispered, broken. "You win. You got me." From where I hovered, I was stunned. Revenge? How could she think I'd go that far just to get back at her? That I'd trade my life for a petty point? No, I wasn't trying to hurt her. I was just... A man who failed to win her over. That's all she didn't understand. Maybe she never would. She kept drinking, pouring glass after glass, until her hands shook and her eyes glazed. She stumbled toward the bathroom and started throwing up. Her phone rang again. It was Lisa. "What is it?" Willow asked hoarsely. "Miss Lou, I'm sorry to disturb you, but..." Lisa paused. "David's at the crematorium. They're about to cremate." "George, do you want to come?" Willow didn't speak. For a moment, she just stood still. Then she answered, "Send me the address." She got in her car and drove. Fast. Quiet, determined, she arrived just in time, right as they were about to place me into the furnace. "Wait." She rushed forward. David turned around, furious. "You've got some nerve showing up here." His voice cut like a blade. "Get the hell out." Willow looked like she might collapse. Her eyes were swollen. "David, I just want to see him one last time." Her voice cracked. David laughed bitterly. "See him? After everything? Did you not watch the dash cam footage?" He stepped closer, shaking with anger. "If it weren't for you, he wouldn't have died. Like this, Willow? If George knew you were here, he'd probably sit up out of pure rage just to kick you out himself." "Get out," he spat. "You killed the only brother I had." Willow didn't move. She just stood there, frozen in place, seeing that David lost it, stormed forward and slapped her across the face. Hard. Blood dripped from her mouth. Lisa, who had just arrived, ran over and grabbed David's arm. "David, stop. You can't hit her, it's illegal." "Please, she's hurting too." Hurting, David barked out a hollow laugh. She knew what pain felt like. Where was all this emotion before? She was marrying someone else. Probably praying George would disappear. He turned to Willow, eyes red with fury. "Go on. Ask her what her last message to him was." She told him a good ex should act like he's dead. So here he is dead. "You satisfied now?" Lisa tried to speak, to defend her, but David cut her off with another sharp slap. Lisa stumbled back, was too stunned to respond. Then he turned back to Willow, trembling. "Why aren't you saying anything?" "Huh? Lost your voice? Or do you need someone to speak for you too?" Willow just stood there, silent, her eyes locked on my body. Her lips trembled, but no words came. "Say something." David suddenly shouted, completely unglued. "Say something." Shh. Was breaking in front of everyone, his grief pouring out like it had nowhere else to go. From where I stood, watching, I felt that sadness too. I wanted to reach out to him, tell him to calm down, that I was okay now, that soon I'd be gone. For good. That none of this pain would last. But I couldn't. I was already halfway out of this world. But no matter how badly I wanted to speak, he couldn't hear me anymore. Finally, Willow's lips moved. After what felt like forever, she whispered, "I'm sorry." David laughed bitterly. "Sorry," he repeated, cold and sharp. "You think sorry means something now?" His laugh was harsh, almost cruel. Then he glared at her and snapped, "If you're really sorry, then fine. Go ahead, join him. I'll let you see him one last time." Willow lifted her head slowly. Blood was still trickling from the corner of her mouth, soaking into her already stained dress. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She just stood there still. Empty. David looked like he was about to say something else, maybe another insult, but then blood splattered. "Miss Lou," Lisa screamed, rushing forward, but it was too late. Willow had done the same thing I did. Quick, silent, brutal. Lisa tore the knife from her hand and tried to stop the bleeding. She fumbled with her phone, calling for help, her hands shaking, but Willow pushed her away. "I just want to see him," she whispered to David. David froze. His fists clenched, knuckles turning white. He didn't answer. "I'll take that as a yes," she said softly. And then she walked toward me. She stood by my side, didn't say a word. Blood kept dripping from her body. Her face grew paler by the second. Far in the distance, the sound of sirens began to echo. David finally broke the silence. Did you love him? He asked. Willow looked at me, eyes glassy, lips trembling. I don't know, she said. Her voice was faint. I just ... feel really sad, like my heart's breaking. David opened his mouth as if to say something, but no words came. Lisa's voice called from the entrance. Over here. Sway, she's here. Willow leaned down slowly as if to kiss me goodbye.
Ow.
But her knees buckled and she collapsed. Before she could reach me, the medics rushed in, chaos erupting. Lisa shouted instructions. They carried her into the ambulance and sped away. David stood there alone, eyes on the empty space where she had been. So, should we continue with the cremation? A staff member's voice broke the silence. David blinked, coming back to reality. He nodded. The worker stepped forward and began the process. I watched as my body was slowly consumed by flame, turning to ash. I thought to myself, did she ever love me? And then another thought followed. Does it even matter anymore? Whether she did or didn't, this was the end. The fire burned quietly. The sun was setting outside, painting the sky in soft gold and red. I looked toward David and whispered one last goodbye. For a moment he paused and glanced in my direction. Somehow, it felt like he heard me. I gave him a final wave, and then I let go.